Behind the Chair. I'm Peppermint Petty,
I'm Impad.
and we are two licensed cosmetologists who work with all textures of hair. Historically, salons have been hubs for real talk, debates, advice, and yes, a little gossip. Now we're bringing those community conversations online. Our chairs hold more than just clients, they hold culture, trust, and tradition. So each episode, we dive into hot topics, current events, and salon stories, and we want to know your thoughts. So make sure you follow at Black Behind the Chair on all major platforms. Drop us a comment, we'll follow you back. And if you love the show, please share it with a friend. It's the best way to support us for free. And lastly, if you've got something to say, you can call or text 470-713-5905. And we're back.
And we're back. Do we ever get anyone that's called?
No, we got that one text message where they were mad at you for voting
Right,
third party.
right.
That was it. Yeah. But,
Yeah.
I figure one day we're gonna say something that hits a nerve. It's gonna be like something so small that we never even thought about.
I'm good at that.
Mm.
I so last weekend I went on a trip with I'm a part of like this script reading group,
Yeah.
and last weekend we all went to Eureka Springs, and this was like the first time a lot of us were meeting each other like in person,
Mm.
because we're
Mhm.
all in St. Louis besides one.
Okay.
And we've seen each other through like video chats when we do the
Mhm.
script reading, but we've never all been like in the same room
Mhm.
together. Um, and so, yeah, we all went to Eureka Springs last weekend, and it was fun. It was a cute little town. I was the youngest one there and the
Okay.
only black one.
Mm.
So we played these games. One was called the Queer Agenda, and if you've ever played like Apples to Apples or Cards Against Humanity, it's essentially
Mm.
that, but a little
Mhm.
more like gay undertones. It was
Yes.
fun.
Happy Pride Month, by the way.
Yes, happy Pride
Mhm.
to all the gays and the theys. We
Mhm.
love you.
Mhm.
Um And so, like I said, a few of them like know each other through drag. A lot
Okay.
of them are former queens and kings.
Okay.
Um, and so we're playing this queer agenda game, and like I said, it's kind of like apples to apples, Cards Against Humanity. So they're gonna read a prompt, and then you have to give like your best answer, and
Mhm.
they pick which card is like the funniest or whatever. And
Mhm.
so the first couple rounds, like I didn't win any cards because like I don't know their sense of humor, right? Like this is my
Mhm.
first time kind of meeting everyone, and like I said, the first go couple go rounds, the cards that I put, I was like, okay, so we have very different like senses of humor.
Uh-huh.
Um and but then once I like figure, cuz I like those games cuz you almost have to figure out everyone individually. So
Mhm.
like what person A might find funny, like person C might not find that funny at all. And
Mhm.
so by the end of the game, I ended up winning.
Okay.
Um, and then we played this other game called Super Fight. And essentially, the best way to describe it, it's almost like Mortal Kombat meets D&D, but like
Mm.
less like less pieces, and like it's not really a board game, it's a card game. So you
Mm.
pick a fighter and then you pick like attributes, and
Mhm.
but necessarily like you don't win just because like your powers are better than theirs. It's how are you defending that your fighter is a better
Mm.
fighter, and
Uh-huh.
everyone else is like a judge and gets to pick. And so if you've been with us long enough, you know your girl loves to argue and debate. So I killed that game. There was only
Mhm.
like one round that I lost, but and like I said, I was the youngest one there, and like I'm a big stoner, and a lot of them don't really like smoke, so I think they underestimated me a little bit. Um because I definitely got really high before we played. So they were probably like, oh, she's
Oh,
just like this young kid out
yeah.
there getting high. She's not going to
Mhm.
know. And I came in there and I dominated.
That's
Um,
hilarious. I love this.
and one of the girls, like the next day, they were telling everyone who like didn't play, they were like, oh, yeah, like how were the games? They were like, well, Impad won.
Yeah.
She killed us all.
Yeah.
So just be mindful if you guys are gonna play games with her. And I was
Mhm.
like, I had to prove myself, had to show that I could hang with the big dogs.
Mhm. I love it. I love it.
Okay. So I know we wanted to talk about Offset
Mm.
wanting alimony from Cardi.
Yeah. So my question was, I've said it many times before that if men don't have anything else, they always have the audacity.
Audacity.
It's really mind blowing. After the way that man has repeatedly embarrassed Cardi publicly over the years, I just think it's wild
Hmm.
that he's asking for alimony. And like you and I talked about earlier, same thing with Mary J. Blige. She married that guy. He cheated on her. They got divorced, and she's paying him alimony and child support, and she doesn't even have any kids.
I was just
I
gonna
just think that's
no, absolutely. That's insane.
so. My question is, like, is it because okay? So with feminism, it's always like, oh, it's perceived to be that women want to be equal to men, right? Which for me, that's not. I don't want to be equal to you. Like I want to be treated in an equal manner, right? But I think that people think, oh, well, y'all want to be the same as men. So if you're the breadwinner, then you're responsible for paying alimony. And I'm just curious what you and what our audience thinks about, is it ever really appropriate for a man to be getting alimony from a woman? That just, I don't know why, it just rubs me the wrong way. I don't like it. And maybe it's just because I'm a woman. And
Yeah,
I don't want to be paying no man money for any reason, let alone a man I'm not even with anymore.
sure.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say it's probably gonna depend on the case.
Hmm.
Um, like we were saying earlier, you do have women that are manipulative, that do take advantage. So, like, not to say that this is the scenario for everyone, but like,
Hmm.
if you have a married couple and the wife is the breadwinner, so the husband's staying home, taking care of the kids, the house, whatever, if they get
Hmm.
a divorce and it's like amicable or like, you know, they both have come to like an agreement, like this is just no longer working. I almost feel like why does it why can't it almost be like 50-50?
Just
Like
take what, yeah.
Like if she is the breadwinner, like okay, well, maybe you can have alimony for a year, but then
Yeah.
after that year, like you have to figure out what you're gonna do.
Yeah, because that's my other question is, if we decide that it's fair that men get alimony, how long do they get it? Like, do they get it forever? Like,
Right, right.
yeah.
Because yeah, I have a guess, like I said, who she's was the breadwinner, and her husband got a divorce. he moved to a different state and she is paying rent for herself. Her kids are in college in other states. She's paying for the rent there. You know, she helps them with groceries. Like, she
Yeah.
also has groceries, and she has to pay her husband
A
to
grown ass man.
a grown ass man who, by the way, like, yes, technically was supposed to be more of the stay at home dad type and help raise the kids, but like, he really didn't
Kids
do
are
that.
grown.
Yeah, well, yes, they are grown, and like, he didn't really do that.
Yeah.
Like, low key, he barely has a relationship with his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost sounds like the son is the one keeping the relationship together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and you think you have the right to
They're owed
this?
something. Yeah.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
this woman's money?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, and yeah, I mean, like you said, women, we just do so much more than we're given credit for. Um, because that's just what we do, right? Like we just do it. I saw
Mhm.
somebody post a meme, something about like they were talking about men, like how nice it must be to just say one day, like, oh, I'm out of deodorant, and then you come home from work and there's deodorant on the counter for you. Like that's just what we do, right? Like
Mhm.
something gets spilled in the refrigerator, nobody knows who does it, but if the woman doesn't clean it out, that shit's gonna be there next year still. Like, um, so I understand when women stay home and are homemakers and have put like their career to the side and they're, you know what I mean? I understand why women would be paid for that labor. Men don't operate the same way. Generally speaking, right? Don't come on here with the not all men. Generally speaking, men don't operate the same way.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I just thought that it was really audacious for Offset to think that he was owed anything from Cardi after the way he, like I said, just embarrassed her repeatedly, publicly.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well, and I also think too, men love to like trap women with children.
mhm,
Because I believe he wasn't it him when he had that tweet and was like, "You're my baby mama, I won."
uh-huh,
Like, excuse me?
mhm. Yeah, my daughter's single and dating. She's separated.
Mhm.
Um, she has one child who's 8, almost 9. And when
Mhm.
she's dating someone and they tell her that they're gonna get her pregnant, she blocks them immediately because she feels
Red
threatened.
flag. Red
Like, I
flag.
did not ask you for that.
No. Like, also
Mm-mm.
low key a threat.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like,
she takes it as a threat. Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah.
That is weird behavior.
Yeah. Why would you
Also,
even say that? Like, why do you think that's
yes.
cute?
Yes. And why is it okay for a man to say that? But
Mhm.
if a woman were to be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, I'm going to trap him with a kid," then it's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, how dare she,
Yeah, he
she's a
shouldn't
girl."
have to be responsible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This just reminds me of I forget, it's kind of like one of those Jubilee conversations, and you have like these conservative Republican men, versus like the Democrat liberals.
Mhm.
And there was one guy on there, and he was doing his poor me, poor men, we have the highest suicide rate, blah, 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 male loneliness.
Mhm.
And one of the women was like, yeah, and like, who set that system up?
Mhm.
Y'all.
This is literally your shit.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so when honestly, if this makes me sexist, I don't care. When I see like an unhoused person, I will typically always give money to if it's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I depending on the situation, I will always typically give money to like a black or brown person.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a white unhoused man,
Mm-hmm.
rarely.
No, because like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Like, you are a grade A fuck up, bro. This is
Yeah,
your system.
your system. And here you
Hmm.
are begging for money.
Yeah,
And I'm not talking the ones with like mental health issues and all that.
sure.
Like I'm
People whose
um
legs have been amputated,
yeah,
like, you know.
right, right. But
Hmm.
again, we can throw that in there too. Who set that system up?
Hmm. Yep.
Um
Yeah, I very, very, very rarely, if I give money to a white unhoused person, it's a woman.
yeah.
But I'm just gonna be honest, I rarely do because we literally live in a system of white supremacy. So
Hmm.
like,
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you were somewhere screaming "All Lives Matter" before you fell on hard times.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
just saying.
And we're kind of seeing um like men using children as a form. I don't even
Props.
know what you would
Mhm.
call that. Like
Props.
entrapment. Yeah, props. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um with the Bailey and
Yeah.
um what's his
DDG.
name? Like DDG. What is
Yeah.
it?
DDG. I think. Don't quote me, because
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, he's some YouTuber. I had never even heard of him until Kelly got
Me
pregnant by
neither.
him.
Yeah. Mhm.
But he's a classic abuser.
Mhm. And I think also, does Kiki Palmer have a kid?
She does by another abusive
Okay,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
like it's just this cycle of, and you know
Mm-hmm.
what, all of those women have like made this image of themselves before the kids, like of being a strong independent, like I don't need a
Mm-hmm.
man. I don't know where everyone's stance was on children, so I won't put
Yeah.
words in their mouth. I never
Uh-huh.
really heard or saw interviews of them like being like, "Oh, I can't wait to be a mom." Like
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of seemed like once they were pregnant, it was like, I'm gonna be a mom and I'm excited.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just very, and I don't think any of them were married before
Mm-mm.
the kids were conceived either.
Mm-mm.
So I always tell people, like, if you're gonna bring a kid into this world, at least have a ring on. Like, let's get some papers signed, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, do something, something.
Literally. Literally. And I know a lot of people think that getting married is just a piece of paper, but that's a contract that
Yeah.
is it's a legal contract that holds people accountable for the shit that they said they were going to do.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
So, yeah.
And I keep seeing this video, and it was saying how, your future spouse or the partner that you will end up with will probably like be the person to be by your side as you lose your parents, so choose wisely.
Mm,
And just want to like throw that out there, like also with children, like
mhm,
let's be mindful of like who we're just allowing to be parents here.
mhm. I
And
don't know why Mother Nature set shit up the way she did, because it seems like there should be some sort of button you can push, right? Like, I've had all the parenting classes, I've been through therapy, I can afford to have children, whatever that means, because under capitalism, nobody can really afford to have children.
mhm.
Um, and like, then you push the button, you're in your parenting window. When you're done, you fucking push the button again.
Mhm.
Like the way this shit is set up that you can just get pregnant willy-nilly. I don't like it.
No. Nope. But I heard that quote and I always think of men created God because women created life. And
Mhm.
I'm just like, yeah, again, it all boils down to like patriarchy and capitalism and white supremacy.
Yep.
I wanted to talk about Jonathan Joss, who was murdered in a hate crime in Texas. He's an actor. He was a voice actor for King of the Hill.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Cash.
And it's very obviously a hate crime, but the police are choosing not to charge it that way.
Yeah. Well, they just walked back their claims. I
Mm.
don't know if they've officially come out and have called it a hate crime, but I think they're like doing some more investigation, apparently.
Yeah, because wasn't like some of it was caught on film, right?
I'm not sure.
I thought I'd read where I don't know if it was a Ring camera or what, but I thought I'd seen where some of what happened was caught on film. And that he was literally screaming anti-gay slurs shortly before he discharged the firearm.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are also they're saying that they burnt their house down
Mm-hmm.
and
Killed
killed
her
their
dog.
dog,
Mm-hmm. I did
and
see that.
that Jonathan pushed his husband out of the way,
Mhm.
and it's again like I can't stand the police, but it's like how could you look at all that and say like no, this isn't a hate crime?
But this is why you can't stand the police.
Yeah, like
This is
excuse
the
me.
literal reason. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
someone brought up a good point. They were like, well, of course, Texas won't call it a hate crime because they don't recognize Jonathan's husband as his husband because he's a trans man.
Mhm. Mm. I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
don't think I knew that. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. That's gross.
And it's so gross.
Yeah.
So fuck San Antonio PD.
Mhm.
And I hope his husband gets all the justice in the world.
Mhm.
And Hollywood, where you at? You've been real quiet. I don't know because I never watched King of the Hill, so like I can't say that I was a huge fan, but I did watch Parks and Rec, and he was on there, and
Mhm.
I don't think anyone from Parks and Rec has really like came out and said
Interesting.
anything.
So I will tell you that King of the Hill, you got to watch at least a couple episodes. It's really
Okay.
good.
I
It's
mean,
really
I've
good.
seen like, clips and stuff. I've seen the infamous like that's my purse. I don't know
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Well, and especially because if I'm not mistaken, Jonathan Joss plays a native man on King of the Hill, right?
He is a native man.
Right, but he plays a native character on King of the
Mhm.
Hill.
Yep.
Yeah. And his whole character, it's that show is wild as fuck. That show is wild. But back when I was watching shows, I didn't watch it all the time, but I've seen it plenty of times. It's funny and um it's complex in ways that are unexpected. Also, you know,
Okay.
it's a cute show. It's a cute show.
Well, they're doing a
Um,
reboot.
I did not know that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think August is when the new season comes out,
Oh,
and they've like aged them.
how fun!
Mhm.
I love it. That'll be interesting. I would watch at least a few episodes just to see like how
Yeah.
they did it. You know how they did with it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to note too, so Jonathan Josh is a Native American man, and I know Native American people get murdered and disappear all the time, and their stories, go untold. There was another Native American actor, I think like last year, the year before, that they were in Yellowstone, the show
Mm-hmm.
Yellowstone, and they were
Mm-hmm.
found mysteriously killed and their braids cut off. And I think, of course, I think the authorities ruled it a suicide. I think his name was Cole something. And again, like Hollywood, why are y'all being so quiet?
I mean, I will say that I think there's a very good chance that one of the reasons Hollywood is being so quiet is because they're still trying to keep their head down because Diddy's still on trial. So I don't
For
think
sure.
anybody wants to say too much about anything while
Mm-hmm.
Diddy's still on trial.
Mm-hmm. Again, maybe I'm just different. I'm like, how can people like look up to them though? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of how I feel about some of the Democrats. Where are you at right now?
Mhm.
Like, what is literally going on?
Yeah. Didn't Cory Bush, I mean, not Cory Bush, I'm sorry, Cory Booker. Remember how I was telling you a few weeks ago when Cory Bush did the, like the thing where he broke the filibuster, where he broke the record. I think it was Strom Thurmond's record, maybe. He did that. And then like a couple of weeks later, he did the thing with him and maybe Hakeem Jeffries, where they were like sitting on the steps of maybe the Capitol building. But I remember saying that Cory Booker, I'm sorry, Cory Bush girl. Cory Booker has always struck me as performative. And he just did something in the last couple of weeks. And he like cross and like support some Republican something or other.
Yes. He's done it quite a few times since his little speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what is the reason? What is the reason?
Literally. And yeah, like Democrats, you're okay with your government going out there and literally kidnapping people in tanks? Because I can tell you right now, if you had a wall of fucking Democrats out there, I think it'd look a lot different.
Yeah, for sure. That reminds me, let me see if I have it here, because I wanted to show you this video. Let me see if I have it loaded. I think I do. It's the freaking the angry people in the background for me. Hold on. This should be the Democrats. Oh, hang on. Let's see if I can make it happen. Here we go.
Are you gonna bring that guy back from El Salvador? Yeah. Why not?
Well, because that's not a power of Congress.
Supreme Court said to bring him back.
Yeah, but
What can they do?
He's defined the Constitution.
Trump don't care.
If I get an order to pay a ticket for $1,200 and I just say no, does that stand up? Because he's got an order from the Supreme Court and he's just said no.
Yeah.
the president of that country is not subject to our U.S. Supreme Court.
If Trump wants to bring him back, let's bring him back. I'm pissed.
I'm pissed. I love that so much. Yeah, but to me, like that should be the Democrats. These people are packed in. Do you see how full that town hall was?
Mm-hmm.
And it was all old ass white people. And as you
Mhm.
heard, they're pissed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it should be.
Yes.
Also, if they're talking about were they talking about Kilmar?
Omar, yeah. Did I see he's on his way back?
Yeah, and they're trying to pin some felonies on him. Because, like I said, when you get deported without due process and you come back,
Wow.
yeah, they're trying to get him on humans smuggle charges or some shit. What state was he from?
I don't remember. Wow.
I don't think he was near a border. I could be wrong, but I don't think he was I don't think he was a coyote. Is that what they call him?
Yeah.
And you know what? Even if he was, keep in mind, entering the country is a misdemeanor.
He lived in Maryland. He lived in Maryland before being deported. Wow. Disgusting. They all should be embarrassed.
Everyone, shame.
Yeah.
Shame on every member.
Yeah.
That is supposed to represent the United States of America.
Yeah.
And I personally get so frustrated. I feel like it's one thing when we say, that's what you voted for. This is what you voted for.
Mhm.
But it irks my nerves when, white people will be like, this is what you voted for. And I'm like, no. No, you don't get to say that.
Yeah.
Because unless you're telling your racist grandpappy to go fuck himself, shut up.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw someone say recently that they were basically mad about specifically Black women, but Black people more generally, saying that we're resting and we're not fucking with y'all right now. We're not protesting. We're not, and they were saying that it was selfish because this affects us all and blah blah blah. But when we were literally in the streets screaming and crying and saying that this affects us all, y'all told us to shut up because all lives matter. So
okay. Well, and I also kind of go back and forth again with Democrats, again, I know Black women should be resting and all this stuff, but I'm also kind of like, Kamala, what you doing, girl?
Yeah. But she's no longer she doesn't hold any position, right?
No.
Yeah. So, for me, I'm not offended that she's not saying anything. I feel like she doesn't have to say anything. We didn't want her to be president. She didn't win. And, she don't really owe us anything. I'm not offended that she's not saying anything.
Sure.
If you're holding office and you're not saying and doing the most, I have something to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't hold office, I don't expect for you to say or do anything.
Sure. Yeah. I think I was a little more annoyed because first she said she was going to run for governor of California.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore because I want to focus on the 2028 election.
Yeah. And probably what really happened is they polled California and realized she wasn't going to win California.
So it's
and she's not going to win in 2028. So I hope
no.
If she was going to win, I think she would have won.
Yeah.
You didn't win.
Right.
For, whatever the reason may be.
Well, and I'm just kind of like, okay, you want to win in 2028. Let's show some momentum now. Like,
Correct.
if
That's
you,
one of the reasons that she won't
yeah,
win.
if you
absolutely.
want the job, remember
Yeah.
you were saying,
Used to be
we can't
off-
let Trump win. I'm so much better.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
And again, like, do I think she needs to be the one to step in and fix everything? Absolutely not. But I get so frustrated when people, again, run their whole platform on this, like, well, vote for me because I'm not them,
Yeah.
aka Kara Spencer.
Yeah.
Like, you
So the
run
bar
this,
is just literally in hell.
yeah, and it's like, okay, well, now it's your time to shine,
Mm-hmm.
and you're nowhere.
Yeah.
But yes, Black women, rest.
Yeah, if Kamala thinks that she's running in 2028, then she absolutely should have a whole lot of things to say right now. But I don't think she should run. I don't think she can win at this point. I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah. And let me also just say, like, I don't think she should be the only one saying something. I
No,
think
correct.
every member that has held a seat in Congress or anywhere in the political, or justice system, like, and if you're seeing what is happening in our country and you are not saying anything, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Not for
And I
real.
hope your pillow is hot every night.
Mhm. Yes. I hope your air conditioner breaks at the end of July.
Yes, like, because it's going to be hot where you're going anyway. So get
Yup.
used to it.
Word.
Okay. Let's talk about some salon things. You wanted to revisit the pricing.
Yeah. I think I just put that on there this morning because I was on I think IG, and this girl's video came across, and it's like these locks. She's got like a bunch of, so she's a hairstylist, she's a loctician specifically. And the video was like, this girl comes in, she has like 12 like really fat freeform locks, but she's got a lot of like new growth where like hair, they were a mess. And so the stylist did a full lock. What did she call it? Did she call it a reconstruction? She basically cut all the locks off and then reinstalled them in such a way that she like reset the locks. It looked fantastic. And she said in the video that she charged $800. And I don't know why I keep going to the comments. I gotta quit doing that to myself. But you go to the comments, and it's all these people in the comments. The work was phenomenal. And there's all these people in the comments talking about how the work was really good, but they didn't think it was worth $800. And like, y'all hairstylists need to be more reasonable with your prices, blah, blah, blah. And the reason I wanted to revisit it is that I wanted to say, getting your hair done by a professional is a luxury service. You do not need to get your hair done for you to survive. So if you can't afford it, save that. But stop trying to shame hairstylists for charging their worth. Like that just really that drives me insane. You don't shame your doctor for charging you an arm and a fucking leg for giving you Tylenol in the emergency room. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think it kind of goes into, you had on there as well, talking about people still kind of downplaying hairstylists in our training. Like licensed professional cosmetologists, we study chemistry, osteology, biology, myology, diseases of the hair, skin, and nails. Like, we go through a lot and have to take 2 tests to pass state board, a written and a practical, to get licensed. So if you don't want to pay for our expertise, then don't pay for it. that's fine. We're not for you, and that's
Mhm.
okay. But I'm just sick of
Mhm.
watching people shame hairstylists for their prices as if we're not all paying astronomically high prices for everything. Like, this isn't a hobby, this is our career.
Absolutely.
It just
Absolutely.
pissed me off.
And again, it all boils down to patriarchy
Yeah.
because a lot of I was just looking into, when it comes to the beauty industry, like who really owns it. And it's not the women doing the work. A lot of, big beauty brand companies are owned by men.
White
And
men.
yeah, white men. And it's just like, okay, so you don't mind, going and paying all this money for product, but yeah, you want to be this platinum blonde, bombshell for $200
Mhm.
when you were in my chair for 8 hours?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like,
Nope.
I just did this rainbow hair the other day, and that shit took me 5 hours.
Mhm.
And I charged $450. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think what people don't I don't know what people are thinking when they say this, but I want to add some context and perspective. Um, because same, I just did it was like a peachy pink, and it was about $450.
Mhm.
Um, that entire $450 does not go into our pocket. We you know what I'm saying? We have taxes, we have to buy hair color. I
Mhm.
mean, we have to buy products that we used on you. We have to pay for the space that we're in. So we might charge $450, but that's so that the money that does go into our pocket after we've paid everyone will still allow us to pay our bills. We deserve to have a roof over our head. We deserve health insurance. We deserve to go on vacation. Like, we're human beings too, and y'all want to come in and trauma dump on us, but you don't want for us to be able to afford to like sustain our existence. And I just think that shit is wild, honestly.
Literally crazy.
So that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I was trying to, cause yeah, I wanted to know. Oh yeah, cause I wanted to know like why. Yeah, why aren't we taken seriously? Even though, like you said, like we study chemistry, we study anatomy, like we do all this stuff. And again, like we've said in numerous shows, like we have more training than the police.
And y'all worship the police.
Y'all worship the police. Y'all
Yeah.
love giving them raises
Yeah. I
because we
mean, I
have to
think it's
vote
a
on it.
combination of a lot of things. I think, like you said, it's, majority women are on the front lines, right? So
Hmm.
automatically, like, it's a woman dominated industry on the front lines. But also, I think, we're creatives.
Yep.
So we tend to be a little more whimsical. We're creatives. We don't like our hair doesn't fit societal standards of what's respectable most of the time. We're tatted, we color our hair in crazy colors, we get to wear fun things to work. Like, and so I think that people think that, oh, your job is just fun. Like, because we have fun at work,
Hmm.
that we are just these ditzy,
Hmm. Yep.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had because cosmetologists live at the intersection of care work, creativity, and community service,
Mhm.
all of which consistently devalue in capitalist
Mhm.
corporate driven society.
Mhm.
Obviously, capitalism only rewards what it can exploit at scale, and the beauty industry generates billions, but the actual labor is seen as low skill or optional. It's service based, not product based. It relies on human connection and time, which can't be mass produced. And corporations love beauty as commodity, but undervalue the worker who provides it.
Mhm.
Cosmetology is rooted in emotional and invisible labor. Stylists aren't just doing hair, they're holding trauma, affirming identity, educating, building trust, and persevering dignity. Especially true for marginalized clients, Black, brown, queer, disabled. But emotional labor isn't quantifiable in reports, so it's dismissed as soft even when it's life saving. Education and licensing are misunderstood or dismissed. Most people don't realize cosmetologists train longer than police officers. Required knowledge includes anatomy, public health and sanitation, chemistry and product safety, client psychology. Still, stylists are seen as just playing with hair due to gendered and classist ignorance. And yeah, it's feminized labor, and society devalues women's work.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's all fine and dandy. But
Mm-hmm.
understand that if you sit in my chair and you try and debate me about my prices, that will be the last time you sit in my chair. I don't owe anyone an
Mm-hmm.
explanation as to why I charge what I charge. Do you want the service or no?
Absolutely. Yep.
Period. I was just saying, I have been self employed for since 2011. So, whatever that math works out to, like 14 years on the 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just spoiled. I'm gonna be honest. I will never be able to work for somebody else again because you're not gonna tell me shit about nothing.
Period.
It's not. Yeah.
Love it. Um, do you feel like conversations, because you have been, you know, in this industry for so long, do you feel like the conversations have shifted since like when you first started doing hair compared to now? And can you pinpoint like when that shift started?
Yeah. So I'll say that for me, and we've talked about this before, for me, and I think a lot of it has to do with the way that I was raised and being raised in a military family. Um, we're taught to respect authority and like um I for the first half, so I've been licensed for 30 years this month. In fact, no, just kidding. July 31st, 1996. That is my diploma from cosmetology school.
Is that Whitney Houston on there?
No, girl.
Oh,
No, it's Lisa Stubblefield, who was the guy that owned the school. That's his daughter.
she low key looks like Whitney Houston there.
I can see that. Now that you say that, I can see that. One of these days you'll have to remind me to tell you about my funny Whitney Houston story from beauty school.
Yes.
But where was I going with that? Okay, so I've been self-employed for about half of my career at this point. The first half of my career, I was always taught that like hairstylists, it's a customer service industry, right? Like your skill needs to be on point, but if you can do hair well enough, your clients will keep coming back to you. The hair part you can learn, but customer service is like first and foremost, right? So the first half of my career, I approached my job in a very diplomatic way. I felt very much that if you walked in the door, and part of it too is that I work for not a lot, but a handful of corporate salons. So if you walked in the door, you got serviced, right?
Mm-hmm.
People were not talking about politics, not in the salons I was in. A corporate salon, absolutely not. Because like we've said in our old opening, I always said that, we're always taught not to talk about politics, sex,
Mm-hmm.
salary, So we just didn't have those conversations. And to be really honest, I wasn't in the first half of my self-employed career, I was not having those conversations. I just avoided them because I'm trying to be diplomatic and serve every client that comes in the door. But for me, the switch happened in 2020. Now, because I think I told you before that I kind of was radicalized and got active after Oscar Grant was murdered by the police. So that's been longer than 7 years ago. I think, is it 2009?
9.
Yeah. So in my head, I'm still thinking about these things. I'm having these conversations in my personal life. But behind the chair, I'm not having these conversations. We're talking about your kids going to soccer practice and, whatever, right?
Mhm.
But for me, it was in 2020 where I started intentionally having these conversations because I just decided that I no longer wish to serve people who wouldn't spit on me if I was on fire. Um, so yeah, for me, those conversations just shifted in 2020, but it was a very intentional shift on my end.
Mm-hmm.
Now, especially in this time, the majority of my clients because I told you I'm in a very red area, my clients who are non-Black or brown, my white clients specifically, will make it a point to like let me know that they're distressed about what's happening, but they don't. A good majority of them don't want to talk about it. So they'll come in and they're like, oh, I'm asking them, hey, how you doing? They're like, well, as good as I can be, all things considered. Like I'm sick of the, whatever in the White House, blah blah. And they'll give it a couple moments of lip service, but they don't want to talk about that. And I respect that because also like you're coming in here to relax, and that doesn't make me feel relaxed. But I do need you to let me know that like you're not cool with what's happening because like I said, I just don't want to serve people who are Trumpsters, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word, or have that mentality, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
approach the world in that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Absolutely.
know that was a long-winded ass answer, but
No, I love
I
it.
always gotta have a story.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I was just curious because
What about
probably
you?
opposite. I was going to say probably a little bit of opposite because I've always been very vocal about, a lot of things, both in the salon and out of the salon. And actually my Emma the other day, we were just talking and I forgot how we got on the topic, but she was like, yeah, I don't think any of your guests like have voted for Trump. And I was like, I would hope not. And if they
Yeah.
did, like they know not to bring it up.
Yeah.
Like it's best not to do that. And yeah, just because like, I don't know, I don't like fakeness. And so like, there's a reason why I didn't go into the corporate world. I couldn't. So yeah, like you want to talk about like revolution and you're down for the movement. Yeah. Are you though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I want to know. You going to be out in the streets with me when shit really pops off?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I do small things too now. Because I want you to know where I stand, whether we talk about it or not.
Mhm.
so that if it makes you uncomfortable, you can just go somewhere else, and that's okay. It used to hurt my ego when someone would sit in my chair and not ever come back. Like, I would think, like, what did I do wrong? You know what I mean? Maybe
Mhm.
they didn't let you know, whatever the case may be. Now I know that it might not have anything to do with me at all, first of all.
Mhm.
But even if it does, so what? That's not my business. Like,
Yeah.
it's one thing if I'm turning out bad hair, which I'm not. Like, I know that I'm a really good hairstylist, and my
Yep.
clients are obsessed with me. Like, my people are obsessed with me.
Mhm.
But yeah, the bending and twisting, and especially like being in the corporate world, that I can't tell you the number of times, because I did everything in the corporate world. I've managed salons, I've worked in education, I've been an area manager, over 10 salons. Like, I've touched all of the pieces, you know what I mean? There
Mhm.
was so many times where I'm the only Black person in the room, man, woman, or otherwise. Um, and it's just the beauty industry, the corporate side of the beauty industry is a very, here we go, we're going back to it. It's racist, it's misogynistic, it's capitalist, like, it's gross. And I'm just not interested in participating in that part of the beauty industry anymore.
Mhm.
It's just not for me. I'm not willing to, like, now that I've found my voice and feel comfortable and confident just saying, like, not being afraid that I'm going to get fired, right? Like, that's
Mhm.
it. Like, just holding your tongue because you just don't want to get fired. I don't have to do that anymore. I'm self-employed. I've been self-employed. I'm going to continue to be self-employed. So I
Mhm.
can say what I want.
Mhm.
I can say, who gonna check me, boo?
Mhm.
I love that for
Exactly.
me. I love that for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and I do work at a salon, where we are more open and inclusive and all that. And I do feel like the conversations are changing, but again, that just could be my salon. I Emma, who's right next to me, lot of her guests, and she talks to a lot of her guests about like what's going on in the world. And she's so cute. She references our podcast a lot. She's
I love
always like,
it.
yeah, my station partner here has a podcast and they just, they talk about all the things going on. And yeah, so shout out. She's
Mhm.
just
Shout
adorable.
out to Emma. She's so cute.
Yes. um and so, yeah, and I know, like, I shared with you that conversation earlier that I had with my boss. So, like,
Mhm.
I do feel like things are changing. And, for legal reasons, I can't say names, but, I got into a legal battle with my former salon, and
Mhm.
my current salon, like, my owner helped me like win that case. She
Nice.
provided me with a lawyer who worked pro bono. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So,
Mhm. Mhm.
um and she is a white woman. And
Yeah.
like and I told her like when I first started, I was like, "Hey, sounds like this is going to get into some legal drama. Like
Mhm.
I can wait out, a year and
Mhm.
come work after all of this kind of blows over." And she was like, "Do you want to work here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." Like, and she was
Uh-huh.
like, "Okay, you're going to work here then."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know like if many other salons would have taken that risk,
Yeah.
to say,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I do feel like things are changing and I hope it is like getting better. Um and I like I was saying earlier, like we are another reason why they don't like us is because we are part of the community. We are not a part of like the corporation.
Mhm. I love that.
And so yeah, that's why that's why we don't get health insurance and
Yeah.
why the pricing in these corporate salons do sometimes feel predatory, because they are working for the capitalist corporate side of beauty, which, yeah, like you said, is predominantly white, and you have a lot of men in charge of these beauty brands.
Yeah. I remember when I was dreaming about, I don't know if they still do this, but when I was in cosmetology school, we had to write a business plan for a salon that we were opening. And it was
Mhm.
always my dream to open a salon where we could have conversations about anything: race, sex, politics, gender. Like, obviously, I wasn't thinking about gender at the time because gender wasn't a topic that I even thought about in the 90s. You know what I mean? It just
Sure.
wasn't. But now that I'm clearer, I enjoy having those conversations because I don't wish to be a terrible person, right? Like, if
Mhm.
I'm being problematic in a particular way, I want to know so that I can be a better person. And if you don't have conversations with people, how will you know? You know what I'm saying? So it was always my dream to open a salon where we could have those conversations. And I had that at one time when I was opening the strip center in Indianapolis. I'm not in that space currently, but I will be in that space again here soon. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm looking forward to it.
Love. Yeah, so um yeah, I'm curious to see, as long as everything really doesn't like go to apocalyptic mode, because I feel like with everything going on political wise, it can kind of go one to two ways. Either like the Trump administration, they will self implode and it'll be chaotic, but like it'll almost be like a contained fire chaotic. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
we see it, it's on fire, it's smoking, but like we'll be fine. It just has to ride out. Or
Hmm.
it's gonna like be a wildfire and spread, and it's gonna be like fucking insane. And people are saying with the ice raids in LA, like this is just kind of a test to see what they can and can't do. And again, I go back and forth because, like you and I know, they've been doing this. Like, this isn't the first time that the
They know.
US, yeah, this isn't the first time the US government, and I'm not even talking, I'm talking before Ferguson. Like, they have dropped bombs on
I was just gonna say
black
the moon
neighborhoods.
bombing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was literally
Like,
just gonna say that.
they
Yeah.
have
And
killed
what year was that? Was that what, 88? No,
eight,
not 88.
I want to say late 80s.
I'm about to look it up because I don't want to
I thought
say,
89.
and I was going to say 88. So 85.
Oh.
I knew it was the 80s and I
Yeah.
knew I was alive. I knew I was alive. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely nothing new. But it's like the analogy that people use when they talk about the frog in the pot, and then you just slowly turn up the water.
Mhm.
But what I know for sure is that throughout history, revolution has always come with bloodshed. Like, real revolution has always come with bloodshed. So I'm not wishing for that. And also, I'm understanding that it may very well come to that in order for there to be actual real change. Because power, what is the saying? Power doesn't concede anything without a demand.
I like it,
So,
if that is.
yeah.
Yeah, so it will just be interesting to see what happens. And again, like we were saying earlier, we're not even the full total 6 months in. We still got 12 more days, and
And everyone is fatigued, okay? We're all fucking
yeah,
exhausted.
it's
Which
tiring.
I think is the point. I think that's the point of all the chaos. And so I really do try. I need to do better. I'm so bad at it, but I know that we live in a society where they're intentionally putting us in situations where we will be bad at it, right? They want us to be so tired that we don't eat well and we don't exercise and we don't go outside and like get vitamin D from the sun. You know what I mean? So I've been saying, especially for Black people, that like being joyful is an act of resistance. So
Mhm.
do it every chance you get.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just, what's the answer? Like, what I'm like, what is it going to take for people to be like, let's actually go on strike? If you're not going to be out in the streets, like putting your body on the line, and again, not saying that that's what you have to do. You don't have to be a martyr. But again, like we were saying, true revolution is bloodshed. And like, if y'all want to truly live like this revolutionary life, and like I've said before, this is why I'm hesitant with certain people, because it's like, do you really want true change, or are you just trying to go back to where this wasn't affecting you on an everyday or weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever?
Yeah.
So, because for me, no,
Yeah.
it's now or never. And with The Handmaid's Tale, I was talking to my guest about it, and like I said, I've never watched it, but I was like, oh, where do you think, like, if this were real, like actual, we're living in that town, where would someone like me be? And she was like, well, you'd probably be in the field, and if you weren't in the field, you'd be hung in the street. And I was like, yeah, I'm telling you right now, like, I'm not gonna bow down.
Yeah. Yeah. At this stage of my life, I'm definitely unruly and ungovernable. Ungovernable.
Hmm.
So I'm not going out starting shit. But I'm no longer as diplomatic as I was in my younger years. So
Yeah.
careful with me.
Mhm. Yeah, and like, I don't know how, for me personally, like, I am angry, like, so angry. I don't know if I can keep my calm. Like,
Yeah.
if I were to see an ice truck, or like, you know,
Yeah.
an ice, I don't even, what are they called? Officer, whatever.
Yeah.
Wearing a mask, like, I don't know if I could stop myself from not trying to expose their face,
Yeah.
or like taking a bat and smashing the car window.
I've spent a lot of time thinking about like, there for a while, there was a period of like 10 years where it seemed like and maybe it's still a thing. Like I said, I don't social media the way that I used to. I don't watch the news the way that I used to. So maybe it's still a thing. But there was a 10-year period, 2009, 20 years, maybe even to 2019, 2020, where I was constantly seeing police officers killing Black people, beating Black people, constantly. And I've often thought to myself, like, what would I do if I saw that happening in front of me? Would I step in and try to, um, and we don't know until we're in that situation. But I hope that I have the nerve to step in. I just learned that so we always say fight or flight,
Mm-hmm.
but through the Diddy trial, I learned there's actually 3 things. It's fight, flight, or freeze.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope that I hope that I'm a fighter. I know that when I'm being attacked, that I'm a fighter. But I hope that I'm not the person that's somebody's got to film. We need for it to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I've gotten past like remember I was saying like growing up in the military that authority, like being under authority and having respect for authority was something that was always just impressed upon you. I
Mm-hmm.
know that I'm not even sure that I ever believed it, but I know that I'm well past the point where I have any consideration for authority, right? I respect people who respect me, period. I don't care what your title is.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I feel like those things affect you, like in your soul. So I just hope that if I ever see that I jump in. That's my intention, and I hope that that's what it is. I don't ever want to see that in my face, and I don't think I would be able to sleep if I saw that and didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know I'm a fighter. I've always been. Actually, I was gonna say like my last arrest at Florissant PD. Thankfully, it's on video, but police started doing like the snatch and grab, and I was far away when they started doing that, but I turned around and I saw that they had there were 4 big officers on this little trans man. And I mean, he literally like comes up to here on me. Like he's tiny. And you can see me in the video like run up there cuz my first instinct was to push them off. But you see me run up there and like I get really close and like I physically had to stop myself because I was like we can't do that right here and now. It was very hard, but I did stop myself. And I just started yelling. I was like, get the fuck off him. There's too many. Like, and one of the officers was like, if you don't move back, you'll be subject to arrest. I was like, I don't fucking care. Get the fuck off his back. And then 2 of the officers got up and tackled me. And it and there have been other situations that haven't been, as violent or as escalated, where I've stepped in because I was like, what y'all do on your own time or like behind closed doors, that's one thing. You're not going to do it in front of me. And obviously I have never really had respect for authority. Now that I'm thinking about it. I haven't had the greatest relationship with my biological father, and I remember as a teenager like cussing him out and being like fuck you, like just because you're my father, like that doesn't mean anything. Like you haven't called, I haven't seen you. Like if anything, you're just a sperm donor. And yeah, like you said, like I've always believed like respect is, goes both ways. Like I'm not just going to respect you just because you're my elder. And maybe it's because I don't have kids, so maybe I am a little more selfish, but I always say like I didn't ask to be here.
Yeah.
My daughter used
to tell me that all the time.
Yeah. So like, when people say that I'm bratty or I'm loud or like whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
This is my life.
Yeah.
And I'm going to act the way that I want to act. And again, yeah, if you're going to come correct. Cuz don't let these big brown eyes fool you. Please.
I love it.
Okay. Was there anything else that you wanted to hit?
No, I am about 15 minutes late for my hair appointment.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
All
It's in my
right.
basement.
All right. That's a wrap, but the movement marches on. Black Behind the Chair isn't just a show, it's a statement. We're Impad and
Peppermint Patty.
challenging you to be your most authentic and unfiltered self, both in the salon and beyond. Keep shaking the table and breaking the mold. Until next time, power to the curl.
Cheers.
Cheers.